2015, an elite DFS Army Commando unit formed to bring high-level DFS strategy to the masses. Today, hated by DFS sharks and lineup sellers alike, they continue their quest to turn Joe into DFS pros.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is your DFS Army Daily Dispatch brought to you by DFSArmy.com. And I am your host today, BoomersDaddy, joining you solo for the final time, hopefully. Hopefully we get Bear back on Friday as he is on his way back from Mexico, enjoying his vacation, or at least he did, from the pictures that I can tell. So, man, we got a huge slate today. Got 13 games today. Got 14 games on Friday. So we're not going to dilly-dally around. One little thing that I want to throw out there is, stay calm today. Stay calm. Stay patient. Trust the process. Trust your coaches. And trust that we're doing everything we can to put you in the best position to succeed. The reason I say that is it's very, very easy to get overwhelmed by news, by value, and by trying to fit everybody into your lineups, and then you end up pretty much screwing yourself and not putting out the best effort. So don't worry about missing on guys, and what I mean by that is if you really like LeBron James, but you feel like Russell Westbrook is a better play, then don't worry about missing out on a LeBron James home narrative and stuff that we'll talk about, but Don't worry about that. Same thing goes for these mid-tier guys. Make solid, good, sound decisions. Trust your coaches, and trust that we'll put you in the right positions. So, excuse me. So we're going to go through this game by game. We're going to fly through this here. Try to keep this around 45 minutes to an hour, and hopefully get you guys going here. Start with the first game, New Orleans and Philadelphia. Philly is the home team. They're a 4-point favorite. This total is 236.5. It is the highest total on the board, so we get going right out of the gate. Anthony Davis versus Joe Elam. Great matchup between two premier players in the NBA. And I don't think that we have anything to worry about as far as, each one having their ceiling limited. They're both kind of different games, even though they've got characteristics of the same game. But I really like both of these guys. If you're kind of going a little bit contrarian and you think you might get these guys at lower ownerships, not that we need to worry too much about ownerships today with so many games on the slate, but if you think that we get these guys at a really, really low ownership pairing, then we could really, really, really do a ping pong with these guys and fade the rest of the studs on the slate. I'm not looking at Ben Simmons here. I just think that 9,700 for him not really doing a lot and being in this offense that's still trying to figure itself out with the addition of Jimmy Butler is a little bit too much. I've got too many other point guards that I want to play, and so I'm not touching Ben Simmons here. Drew Holiday is in play. He's going to probably see a lot of the Ben Simmons, TJ McConnell, JJ Redick type of defense. So I'm not really worried about that. Plus, with Elf out, he's still the primary ball handler. I love pairing him up with Nikola Mirotic if you want to. I want to get some exposure to these two teams, but I'm not sure I'm going to be doing it with a lot with AD and Embiid. So it's kind of just my feeling there. I think Julius Randle's a good play at 7,500. I think he could see some extended minutes tonight as well. They can move Mirotic to the 3, put Julius Randle at the 5 or the 4 and run AD at the 5 as well. So Mike Muscala's been getting, around 20 minutes or so per game, and it's kind of nice to see that. He's being a lot more aggressive this year. He's still priced there pretty reasonably on both sites. And so I don't mind if you want to. It's harder on FanDuel because he's at the center position, but on DraftKings, I don't mind if you want to take a shot there, for some value that's probably going to be pretty low owned. And if he gets extended run, then, he could definitely go for 8-9x. So JJ Redick is probably going to be in a lot of my lineups tonight, depending on exactly what happens throughout the rest of the afternoon. But I really do like Redick in this spot. He's probably going to see a lot of the combination of Etwan Moore and JJ Redick or in Drew Holiday, but I don't mind that at all. So let's move on to the next game here. Charlotte and Indiana. Already got word that Victor Oladipo is out. Tyreke Evans did get a price bump, and I don't think that he's going to be too chalky today, especially after what we saw the other day. He, kind of piddled out at the end. So if he's going to be a lot lower ownership, which I think he will be, but if he's going to be lower ownership than he was the other night, which isn't hard to do, honestly, considering he was the chalkiest guy on the slate, then I really, really, really do have some interest going back here. Jeremy Lamb with no Victor Oladipo defense on him is going to be a good spot. Kemba Walker keeps continuing to shoot the ball. So I don't mind him at all either. Domantas Sabonis, 7,100 is a little pricey. I don't mind it, I guess. DraftKings, I think I like it a little bit better. He's 6,500 over there. But, it's just one of those things. If he kind of fits, then I don't mind playing him. I'm not playing Nicholas Batum. He's got to show me first now. And Thaddeus Young's along the same line. So, if you want to go to another guy that's going to play a ton of minutes, it's, going to be pretty cheap. Bojan Bogdanovic can always get hot from the field. And Corey Joseph, I'm actually looking at both him and Darren Collison. If I had to choose, I would probably say that I've got more Corey Joseph now than I do anybody else from this game, just because of the fact that he's definitely a lot cheaper. He doesn't have the same type of ceiling as Tyreke Evans, but I think that I can make up for that with the ceiling that he's going to provide me. So let's go on to Boston and New York. This is the largest spread of the night. It's 14. This total is at a 217, and I'm looking at a couple guys here. First, I'm going to go back to Enes Kanter, 6,500. He's going to play close to 25 to 30 minutes. He's going to be starting for the foreseeable future. And Fizdale said that the reason that he wants to do this is they're still playing with their rotations. They're still playing with their groupings. They're trying to learn what these guys have. So you have to stay patient with the Knicks here. But Mitchell Robinson gets into a lot of early foul trouble. And then lo and behold, Enes Kanter went out and did the same thing last night. But, dealing with Yusef Nurkic on the block is not always an easy thing to do. I do like Kyrie here going into the Garden. Always seems to bring out the best in some of these higher players, these more elite guys, especially guys with the ball in their hands. Jason Tatum, 6,900 on FanDuel. I'm probably going to stay away. It's a great matchup, but there's just too many other things that can happen unless somebody like Marcus Morris is ended up being ruled out. Noah Vonleh, I really like at 4,100. He had a great game last night. I don't mind going back to the well there if you want to do that. Gordon Hayward is still too cheap. He was coming off the bench last game. The issue with that is that he ended up not playing as aggressive as I thought he would. Still played 31 minutes, only took 6 shots, 1 for 6 from the field, over 3 for 3-point range. Still is going to give you a lot of those peripheral stats. He had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, but he didn't have the scoring night. If that's, his floor, then, and he's still going to play 30 minutes even off the bench, I'm probably going to go back to him, especially, at 5,500 on DK and 6,400 on FanDuel. I think he's a great tournament play today because we know that he can actually go for 40 at any moment. And as long as he's aggressive, even with that second team, I don't mind it. Al Horford obviously is in play with going up against Enes Kanter, who's never been mistaken for defense as well. So Atlanta and Toronto. Atlanta's a home team, played last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago. Toronto's on the back end of a back-to-back. We have to watch out for Kyle Lowry here, but Kawhi Leonard is out. That's automatically going to thrust both Pascal Siakam and Serge Ibaka into the mix. If Kyle Lowry is out, then we can go to guys like Fred VanVleet or Delon Wright. We've talked about it a lot. There's not a lot of things to like about the matchup going into Atlanta. It's just one of those things that they just bleed points, and these are high-scoring games. If Lowry is out, I think this game is going to be a little bit closer, but I don't predict blowouts, and I'm definitely not going to get in the business of predicting a blowout on a 13-game slate. So for the Atlanta Hawks, I don't normally like picking on the Toronto Raptors, but if they've got a bunch of guys out, especially if OG ends up sitting as well, then you have to look at some of these guys. I think Trae Young is obviously a guy that can always get hot. He had 16 assists the other night. He's going to make sure that he gets his teammates involved. Guys like Kent Bazemore, Taurean Prince, even the center combination of Dwayne Dedmon and Alex Len. Both are, they all are learning to work together still. And, it's just something that you can pair these guys up with. The guy I'm going to be watching out for on some news is John Collins. He played 20 minutes last game, but did get into a little bit of foul trouble. So if he is going to actually play more than 20 minutes, then it's going to be hard for me not to put him in a lot of my lineups. I don't expect him to shoot 7 for 10 from the field every night, but he's still underpriced if he's going to play anything close to 25 minutes. So we have to keep out word on that. If he's going to play, if he's still limited to 20 minutes, then I'm probably going to pass, just because I don't like paying those sort of prices for guys that are only going to play 20 minutes. I see the profit potential there, but it's not something that I'm going to, generally attack. So Houston and Detroit. Detroit is a 9-point dog, 215 total here. Not a lot to like, but there is some stuff. Obviously, the two studs in this game, James Harden and Blake Griffin, are both in play, in my opinion. Blake is basically that point forward that everybody is clamoring over right now. So I really do like him tonight. He's under 10K on both sites, and if Detroit's going to stay in this game, they're going to need a big game from Blake Griffin. So I'm not so enamored with Andre Drummond, just because I feel like he could kind of get a little paced out in this game. And since Houston takes a lot of threes, then the rebounds are going to be more the mid-range type rebounds rather than those ones close to the block. So Chris Paul, I don't mind. He's got a great ADVP matchup. Going against guys like Reggie Jackson, Ish Smith is never a bad thing. PJ Tucker, I absolutely love for his price tonight. A great matchup, and isn't going to be phased out of this game at all. So Clint Capella, if you want to take a tournament shot, he's definitely an option. He's got the upside, but he's not going to be one of my main cogs at the center position tonight on either site. So Chicago and Phoenix, 217 total. Chicago 1-point dogs at home. A lot to love from this game. Devin Booker, Zach LaVine. I love this ping pong battle right here. These guys can both go for 50 fantasy points tonight. I also like DeAndre Ayton and TJ Warren as well. So, Wendell Carter Jr., Justin Holiday is still underpriced. Trevor Ariza was really underpriced. And then, that's pretty much everybody from this game. This is a great game stack, in my opinion. Don't go overboard. kind of limit it to like 2 or 3 players in your lineups, but you can mix and match these guys throughout your lineups if you're making multiple lineups tonight. My favorite play from this game, obviously, is TJ Warren. He's going to play close to 35 to 40 minutes and has a great ADVP matchup tonight as well. So it's something that you can definitely look at. And if you want to, take a pivot, if Warren ends up being a little bit chalkier, you can always go to Trevor Ariza. So that's kind of, a nice little tournament pivot, or if you need to save some money in cash games. So Minnesota and Denver. I want to play Jokic so bad, but as my phone goes off, Karl Anthony Towns is not somebody that I'm afraid to attack, but Jokic is. I haven't figured out exactly how Jokic gets involved in this offense. I think he's fine tonight. I think he's got great tournament upside. I'm probably not going to play him in my cash games, but I do think he's got tournament upside tonight if you want to pay up to be contrarian here. Robert Covington is going to play a ton of minutes. Gary Harris is probably my favorite play from this game tonight. Going against Andrew Wiggins or defense. For most of the game, he's going to see some Robert Covington, but I think Paul Millsap sees some Robert Covington as well. So Millsap's not a bad little play considering his price. His minutes have gone down, and that kind of concerns me. I don't know if they're kind of just making him keeping him fresh for the long season or what, but that does kind of concern me a little bit. Honduran Gomes, this guy just comes out and balls. He's going to play close to 30 minutes. He's going to start. I absolutely love him tonight. And then, if you want to take a shot on Dario Saric, then in tournaments, then I don't mind it at all. His price has come down quite considerably. So it's obviously an option that you could do. He's going to play close to, 25 minutes off the bench tonight. So, Jamal Murray, probably not going to go there. Not tonight, not with all the options on the slate. He's still going to play the minutes. He's still going to be playing, still going to put up a lot of shots, but I will take my chances and say that Jamal Murray does not get hot tonight. This just doesn't feel like a Jamal Murray type game. Dallas and Brooklyn. Dallas is 5.5-point favorites. Brooklyn, or this total is 215.5. I don't normally play DeAndre Jordan, but I'm honestly really thinking about it tonight. 7,500 centers against Brooklyn is a premier matchup, and this might be the DeAndre Jordan night. This is the highest that we've had him projected in a good while, and he's sitting around the price where we could still see some profit tonight. So I really don't mind going there. Other options, Spencer Dinwiddie, 6,300. Dennis Smith Jr., I don't mind a little ping pong value option right there. Joe Harris as well. I'm not paying 7,400 for D'Angelo Russell, but I do have a little bit of tournament interest in Luka Doncic tonight. If he's going to be handling a lot of the ball, then he's going to see a lot of D'Angelo Russell. He's going to see a lot of Spencer Dinwiddie. And I think that could end up being a very, very, very good option. Dorian Finney-Smith is a guy that is cheap. He doesn't have the greatest ADVP matchup, but he's going to play a ton of minutes, and I think the minutes are going to actually outweigh the matchup here. I've got him projected for 34 minutes right now, and that seems about right considering, he's been playing very, very, very well. Played 40 minutes against Golden State, played 35 minutes last game, or 34 minutes last game. He's going to give you some steals. He's going to give you some assists, might throw in a block and a rebound. But at his price, 4,200 on Fanduel, 3,800 on DraftKings, I don't mind in this matchup with the pace going to him as a value option in tournaments. So Let's go San Antonio and Memphis. Not a lot to like about this game. I do want to talk about one guy here, and that is Dante Cunningham. Got a lot of people that were on him the other night. He's played 28 and 32 minutes in back-to-back. I am not going to go back to the well here, and here's the reason why. He's not going to shoot 7 for 7 from the field and 5 for 5 or with 5 3-pointers. He's just not going to do it. So I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I know the minutes, but especially if Davis Bertans is back tonight and we're still waiting word there, then it's really not going to happen. So Kyle Anderson is actually making a homecoming tonight, going back to San Antonio. He's too expensive for me here, but I did need to mention him because I have gotten a couple questions about him already. I do like Jaren Jackson, but I like him more on DraftKings, I think, than I do on FanDuel. He's 5,600 on DraftKings. He's 7K on FanDuel. So if I'm playing Jaren Jackson tonight, it's more towards the DraftKings side than the FanDuel side. Marc Gasol's got a good matchup. He is priced out at 9,000 though. He's 7,800 on DraftKings, where centers are always a little bit cheaper over there. So I don't mind him on DraftKings, but I'm not playing him there. There's not a lot to love from this game. Like I said, the one play is more of a site-specific play, and it's Jaren Jackson over there on DK. Let's go to the Hammer games tonight. Utah and Sacramento. A lot to love in this game. It normally would not be, but there is today. Utah's 9-point favorites, a 221.5 total. Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, both absolutely just loving both of them tonight. You could even throw in there a Joe Ingles, who I think is underpriced tonight at 59 or on both sites as well. So he's 5,300 on DK, 57 on DraftKings or on FanDuel. I'm not chasing the Ricky Rubio production. I'm just not going to do it. And then Jay Crowder is also, a guy that I don't mind going to as well for the Utah Jazz. I really do like Donovan Mitchell. I think there's a bounce back game in him tonight. We know the minutes are there. It's just that his shot wasn't falling last game. So I really don't mind going there. I think he's going to have to score tonight. I don't mind pairing him up with Rudy Gobert either. I've been a homer about, or not even really a homer. I've been a advocate of Rudy Gobert, for a little while, and we haven't seen that 40-point outburst from him in a while. I think he's a fine tournament play. He's going to garner a lot lower ownership than what people are probably expecting, so I don't mind going there at all. De'Aaron Fox going against Utah, 7,500. It's he had a great first half against Oklahoma City the other night, but kind of didn't live up to or keep it going in the second half. I don't mind going back to him here, especially at 6,400 on DK. It's, when you shoot 1 for 10 from the field, then you're going to have a slow night, and he still put up 27 DK points the other night. So if he just makes another 4 or 5 of those, we're talking about 35 DraftKings points, and nobody is really complaining about that. Buddy Hield got hot, and I said it the other day. He loves playing against Oklahoma City. I'll have to look at his stats against Utah, but 6,600 on FanDuel and 5,600 on DK. There's a lot to like about his upside there. Marvin Bagley, he got the minutes finally. He got 26 minutes. He was out there in crunch time. He had 13 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 assists. He absolutely crushed. He had 15 points. That's now that's now at least 15 points in both of the last 2 games. And I love it. I will gladly go back to it tonight, especially since he's, 4,600 on DK and, 5,700 on FanDuel. Don't think he's going to be highly owned on FanDuel tonight. Not that I'm worried about ownership, like I've said. 13 games, ownership's going to be spread around. People are going to get cute. Guys, in cash games, let other people make the mistakes. Let other people get cute. You just do you. Let us guide you, and you will absolutely have a great night. I love 13-game slates because people get so overwhelmed, and they're the ones that end up making the mistakes, where if you can stay within yourself, then, you can stay sound. Nemanja Bjelica. Ever since this report came out earlier last week, he's seen a very, very hard minutes decline. 14 and 23 in his last 2 games. He shot 5 of 6 from the field, 25.5 DK points. He's 4,300 and 4,700 on each site. He's going to play around 22 to 25 minutes. Maybe if this game is close and he gets hot, he might be in there at the end. But, he's a tournament option only, and one really if you're only stacking these late games. Okay. Let's go to the premier marketable game of the night outside of I skipped one. Let's go to this one first because I didn't talk about this. Cleveland and the Lakers. I don't know how I skipped that one. 9.5 point favorite for the visiting Lakers. We have LeBron's coming home party. If my former co-host was here, LeBron or Al Walsh, he would be singing the coming home, and I don't really have the voices or the chops to do that. So LeBron James 11-5 on FanDuel. Let's see where he is in comparison to everybody. You've got Anthony Davis as the only player that is more expensive than him. You have Giannis, Joe Embiid. Ooh, I skipped that game too. Jeez, 13-game slate. I'm all over the place. We'll touch on that game here in a second as well. You got Giannis, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, all more or less expensive than LeBron James. And LeBron James, because the narrative is probably going to garner a lot of ownership as well. So I don't mind it. I see it and I understand it. Probably won't be a part of my core. I might take the brass ballsy fade of the night and slap it on LeBron James. So just because of the narrative and everything, and I can go get other studs that could mimic or outproduce him for cheaper. That's really the idea. Now, if I want to game stack this game, if I want to put him with like a JaVale McGee and then Alonzo Ball, and kind of move around in that aspect, and add this in, then fine. I guess, that's obviously something that you can do. David Nwaba is going to start over Larry Nance. So that's something that we're going to have to pay attention to. Nwaba is 3,900 on FanDuel and a 3,600 on DK. C.D. Osman should be back tonight after missing a couple, no, he didn't miss any time. My fault. I thought he missed some time. He's 4,300, played 30 minutes, 24 minutes in the last 2 games. Still didn't break 20, but we know that upside is in there as well. The guy I'm really looking at here is probably Jordan Clarkson. He's obviously got the revenge narrative going, just like Larry Nance, just like, LeBron James. Just there's a lot of revenge going on in this game for whatever reason. From that trade I think it was last February. So I don't mind that at all. Lonzo Ball. A lot of people are going to ask about him. 5,600 on FanDuel. He is 5,600 on DK as well. Let's get this out there a little bit. The Lonzo Ball game is coming. And if I think the minutes the last game were more of an aberration. LeBron kind of took over. He was shooting 1 for 6 from the field. He still had 6 rebounds, 7 assists. He's going to give you the peripherals, even though those are slightly down this year as well. But he's actually shooting the ball at a higher percentage He's just not shooting up as many shot attempts. This is a 221 total. It's one of the highest on the slate. I think this is a great game to kind of throw in one of those game stacks. Or if you want to X out some of these other games completely and just focus on, 5 or 6 of these games, then you could definitely include Lonzo in your matchups. Tristan Thompson, he's going to be a hot button conversation today, I think. And honestly, I don't mind him, but I think that we're going to see a little bit more Tyson Chandler kind of playing enforcer role on him. Not that Tyson is actually the defender that he used to be, but it is going to make it a little bit tougher. And make no mistake about it, JaVale McGee is a guy that will bounce out of the gym as well. So so let's kind of summarize this game here, because there's a lot that I kind of went through after bouncing around. LeBron James definitely in play, but you can make the case to fade him because of the garnered ownership and the fact that he's the second highest priced stud on the game or on the slate, and there's nobody really to ping pong him with. You don't have to, but you can make the case. JaVale McGee, I think, is in a good spot. His price has now come down with the decrease in minutes. I'm not probably going to play Brandon Ingram. I'd rather play Kyle Kuzma for cheaper, who's going to, play less minutes, but has about the same type of production that, Ingram does right now. I think that Ingram has the higher ceiling, but he's still learning to work off of LeBron James. Both Lonzo Ball, Tristan Thompson are in play. David Nwaba is going to be a chalky option on the slate as well. And then, Jordan Clarkson is probably one of your top plays out of this game as well. And I don't mind going to Josh Hart. If, Lonzo does struggle, Josh Hart can step in and actually play a lot of the point guard duties as well and work off the ball with LeBron James very, very well. So let's go to the other game I missed here. Sorry about this, guys. Milwaukee and Portland. Portland played last night at the Garden. They're moving over to Milwaukee tonight. I don't know how much interest I have in Portland. 7-point favorites for the Bucks here, 224.5 total. Both CJ and Dame went off last night, and it was nice to see that happen. I think Dame had 29 points. Dame had 29 points and CJ had 31. So they both ended up over 40 DraftKings points. So last night was a good night to kind of pair them together. It doesn't happen that often, but it was a good night. I don't mind going back to CJ here. He would be the guy that's cheaper, but I'm probably not going to do it. Giannis is obviously in play. We've seen this before. With these guys, we normally don't pick on Al-Farouq Aminu defense, but he tends to struggle, as a lot of guys do, against Giannis Antetokounmpo. We just saw this matchup on November 6th, and that was one of the games where they were starting out a 4-game West Coast swing through Portland, Golden State, the Clippers, and Denver. And Giannis kind of struggled all of those games except for the Clippers. So I don't mind going back to him. I think a lot of people are going to play the game log card here. And Giannis is just kind of a different beast at home. If you look some of his home road splits, he's averaging 6.5 DraftKings points more at home than he is on the road. So I really do like playing that card here tonight. Brook Lopez, Yusuf Nurkic is not a guy that can defend the perimeter that well, so I don't mind going back there. I'm probably off of Al-Farouq Aminu tonight. He's statistically and just kind of overall in his career kind of struggled against the Bucks. It's kind of a little bit like a dumb moment because he's got to pay so much attention to Giannis that it does kind of hurt his offensive game a little bit. So that's something that we definitely do pay attention to. If you want to ping pong like a Eric Bledsoe and Damian Lillard, or Chris Middleton and Dame, or ping pong a couple guys from this game, you definitely can. I don't mind it at all. Some of the other guys I'm looking at is Evan Turner's always got the ability to kind of, go off a little bit. He's going to handle a lot of those backup point guard duties because of the fact that, the Blazers kind of sit both Dame and CJ at the same time. So that's definitely something you could think about. Actually, wait, no, you can't, because Seth Curry is going to be back tonight, as we just got word, or he's probable. And so getting upgrade in the middle of the day is always a good thing. Seth Curry is actually interesting at 3,600 on Fanduel, and min price on DK. So if Seth Curry is announced in before lock, then he could be a very, very interesting option coming off the bench. He was playing anywhere between 15 to 22 minutes. So in tournaments for that mid price, that minimum price tag, then you could definitely go there. So okay, I don't think I missed any more games here, so let's go on to my feature game of the night. Obviously is the Golden State Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder going into Golden State as a 1-point dog. This is the closest that the spread has ever been in this matchup for a long time now, since Durant left. He is no longer, as of this moment, known as Durant. He shall be known as Cupcake. I'm wearing my Coward shirt with the cupcake on the back, and he will be known as Cupcake throughout the rest of this podcast. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this here. Russell Westbrook definitely in play at 11.7, so is Cupcake at 10 or 11. So is Cupcake at $10,000 or 10.7. Sorry, on FanDuel. And they're $100 split as far as price on DraftKings. Russ came back the other night, showed no ill effects from that ankle injury. It was good that they kept him out as long as they did, because it probably allowed him to come back 100%. Jeremy Grant is going through shoot around right now. Nerlens Noel is questionable. Terrence Ferguson will be back tonight. So some things are going to change. That's probably going to limit my exposure to Klay Thompson just a tad, just because Terrence Ferguson has shown the ability to be able to guard the perimeter. Alex Abrinas is questionable still, along with, like I said, Nerlens Noel. So let's talk a little bit about this matchup. For Golden State, without no Klay, Curry, without no Draymond, we're really kind of limited. I love Andre Iguodala's price on FanDuel. It's 3,800. If this game stays close, I think he plays a huge role in it. He's going to play close to 25 minutes, and it's something that I really, really like going forward. Don't mind. Obviously, Klay with Terrence Ferguson coming back, it's going to limit it a little bit, but he's still cheap enough to where I don't mind taking a couple shots on him as well, because we've seen what he can do, even against an elite defender like Andre Robertson, if they get going. So the problem I have with Klay and everything is that the spacing has changed with no Draymond and Steph on the floor. So therefore, it's one of those things like I'm going to take a shot and hope that it doesn't burn me too much, because I think that a lot of these guys from this game are going to be pretty popular. It's very, very difficult to have a standalone 10-30 game and it not be a little popular, especially when it's a marquee game like the Warrior, or marquee matchup like the Warriors and Thunder. So I think Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are both going to garner some ownership. Let's talk about the Thunder here. Russell Westbrook, he is firmly in play. Paul George finally got that price decrease with the return of Russell Westbrook. He's $8,900 on both sites. Steven Adams is a great play paired up with either one of these guys. Dennis Schroeder saw the price decrease as well. He's $6,000 on on FanDuel and 6,100 or 6,200 on DK. I think he's still a little bit priced out, but in tournaments, I don't mind taking a shot on him on 1 or 2 spots. And then if Jeremy Grant does play, it's kind of a bounce back spot for him. I really do like that matchup. Other guys that I'm looking at for the Thunder, depending on if we get word on Terrence Ferguson being on a minutes restriction or anything like that, we might be able to go to Hamidou Diallo. But as of right now, probably not. The main targets for the Thunder are obviously going to be the big 3 guys. Steven Adams, Russell Westbrook, and Paul George, with a sprinkle of Jeremy Grant and maybe 1 or 2 shots with Dennis Schroeder. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Right around 40 minutes. So we worked this through really quickly. Sorry about bouncing all over the place. A lot to get to today. Still a lot to do. Your coaches are going to be in all of our chat rooms, helping you out as much as possible. News is already starting to hit. We should see more news later on, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So for myself, for the DFS Army, have a happy Thanksgiving. Don't get too fat, and we'll see you on Friday. Peace out.